Hey, it's Beth with a little bit of Beth and your fourth installment in the Authentic Leadership series, where I'm talking to you about the definition of leadership that we are utilizing in navigating challenging dialogue in both the skills training and the leadership certification. Now, if you're interested in that and interested in learning more, we have all the upcoming workshops on the website, bethwonson.com or navigatingchallengingdialogue.com. So just go on and take a look, because I'd love to have you join us in the upcoming workshops. But for right now, what we're talking about is this working definition of authentic leadership. And it is the ability to speak your truth with empathy and compassion, self-awareness, and a focus on the good of the whole. Now, part 1, speaking your truth. Part 2, with empathy and compassion, and part 3, self-awareness, are what the past 3 weeks of Bit of Beth have been about. But now we're to, what does it mean when Beth talks about focus on the good of the whole? How does that impact number 1, 2, and 3, speaking your truth, empathy and compassion, and self-awareness? These are like a mirror. They go side by side. You cannot be effective as a leader who speaks your truth if you're not balancing that with the good of the whole. You cannot be a leader with empathy and compassion if you're not balancing that with what's in the best interest of the good of the whole. And the lens of self-awareness, the way that we understand who we are and how we show up, that really doesn't amount to a hill of beans if our focus is not on what's in the best interest of the good of the whole. Now, it's sometimes the interest on the good of the whole might just be in a one-on-one relationship. Sometimes it might be with a team. Sometimes it might be with your whole community or your whole family. Sometimes it might be for all of humanity. Sometimes it might be for the mission and the vision of your organization. And sometimes it might be for the environment and the universe. That's for you to assess. But if every time you're speaking, you're extending empathy and compassion, or you're being aware of how you're behaving, if you're doing that through the lens of, and what's in the best interest of the good of the whole, you are truly being an authentic leader, and you're being a really effective leader. Sometimes we have to make, as a leader, we have to make those super hard decisions. And we have to convey ridiculously hard information to people that are depending on us. But as long as you can do it, speaking your truth with empathy and compassion, self-awareness, and a focus on the good of the whole, what's in the best interest of the whole. What is going to create sustainability? What is going to allow us to innovate and continue to build? What is going to allow for growth and development of whatever it is you're leading, including yourself? If you do that with the lens on the good of the whole, it's going to be a win every time. I'm not saying that it's not going to be uncomfortable, because guess what? Leading authentically is not always comfortable. But it is certainly less chaotic and dramatic than leading without speaking your truth with empathy and compassion, self-awareness, and the focus on the good of the whole. Most times when I am called in to do coaching, and you can take a look at all my coaching packages at bethwonson.com. When I'm called in to do coaching with leaders who are not experiencing success, or people are perceiving them to be bullying or difficult, people are leaving the company because they don't want to work with those leaders anymore. Most of the time when that is happening, the component that is missing is focus on the good of the whole. Frequently, self-awareness is also missing. But a lot of times, people have no problem speaking their truth, or they have no problem extending empathy and compassion. The people who speak their truth without the rest of the equation, the other three components, particularly the good of the whole, frequently are the bullying types, the difficult leaders, the people that are not building collaborative teams. And then when it's the people who are overloaded with the empathy and compassion, they're leading from that place, they're frequently not speaking their truth, and they're frequently thinking they're focused on the good of the whole, but they're not. They're not wanting to hurt feelings. They're not wanting to hold people accountable. They're not wanting to create boundaries. They're not wanting to give people honest feedback. And so that is also incredibly problematic. So over the course of the next week, in this mini exploration of authentic leadership, even, like I said last week, if you say, but Beth, I'm not a leader. You're always a leader. Everybody's a leader. You have to lead. That's how we live. And so I want you to think about, where am I forgetting to take a look at what's in the best interest of the good of the whole, no matter how uncomfortable it might be? Where am I not stepping into speaking my truth, empathy and compassion, and self-awareness? And in those places where I don't step into those practices, have I forgotten to focus on what is in the best interest of the good of the whole? Yep, this is all self-awareness work, and I'm promising you, when you begin this practice and you begin this exploration, you begin participating in this way, things get so much simpler. Drama, chaos, conflict, manipulation, wanting to be the expert, imposter syndrome, fear of failure, they all begin to fall away. They all begin to take their place. They all begin to just become things that you can look at and go, oh, wow, that's fascinating. There that is again. It's creeping up again. If leading and being in the world in this way sounds interesting to you, or if you know someone who could really benefit from this, I'm going to encourage you to take a look at Navigating Challenging Dialogue and consider coming to one of our workshops. I look forward to working with you and having you join me and the couple of dozen people that have been through this process and are now certified to bring it back to their organizations, to do this work within their companies. I'm going to encourage you to take a look at that. So, thanks for joining me. Until next time, this is Beth with a little bit of Beth. Bye.